Okay, welcome back to Ms. Curtis's art class. Today we are going to be working with a super awesome material. We are going to be using earthenware clay. So this type of clay can go inside of a kiln. So what's a kiln? A kiln is actually a giant oven used to essentially fire or bake pottery. And when it comes out as bisqueware, which is a very hard material, almost like china, and it's like as hard as a rock. So what you can do with that after is paint it using pottery glazes, which is what we're going to do for this project, and then it will come out with a very shiny, glassy texture to it. So for this project, we are going to be making a Claude Monet inspired flower hanger. So as you can see, this is it before it's gone through the kiln. It's still malleable and in that clay form, okay? So I can still form it how I would like. And you can see that there's an opening right here. So essentially it's like a pocket. And what we're gonna do with our clay, you're going to have a long rectangle like this. It already has the hole for the hanger. We are going to fold that up and pinch, and that is going to allow us to have this opening here so that when it comes out of the kiln, you can put water in here and a small flower, and you can actually hang it up in your house, okay? So you might be wondering, what's all this on here? So Claude Monet loved to paint lily pads in the water or in his pond nearby. This is just a texture and small strokes. He was an impressionist painter, so he used small strokes, paint strokes. We are going to use the tools in our bucket to mimic his paint strokes and make small little etches and texture onto our project so it looks like that. We're also going to add 3 lily pads. So we are going to be using the additive and subtractive method to make our project. So what we're going to do is we are going to start by taking our piece here. We're going to take the bottom part and very carefully, slowly fold it up, okay? And you're going to see some cracks form. You can just use your finger to wipe those away. And then I just want to go about halfway up, maybe even less. And the sides, when they come together like this, we're just going to pinch them sealed shut together, okay? Do it on the right side as well. And then the inside, you're going to have a small pocket. You can pull it up and you can kind of push your fingers in there to round it out a little bit more so that it has a decent sized pocket. All right, once you've done that, what I would like you to do is very carefully just pick it up, hold it like so, and put your initials on the back. So for me, I would do Ms. Curtis. My initials are actually JC, so I'm going to put JC just like that and etch it in. Let's turn it back. Now, we are doing the additive and subtractive method. We are going to be adding our lily pads and subtracting away or taking away from our piece to make the texture, which will look like water. So, inside of your work bucket here, you should have your tools, a small container, and a little bit of fresh clay. Please take out the fresh clay and put it between you and your partner. You're going to take a small piece. Make sure it's not too big. You really don't need a large one. You can see that this is just a tiny little piece. It's no bigger than, it's a little bigger than a pea size, but not too much bigger, okay? I'm going to just roll this into a ball. I could use my hand, I could use the table, and like I said, I'm just using a few fingers here. Once you have that, push it flat, and you're gonna have a flat circle. It should just be about this thick, not too thick and not too thin. Then I'm going to find a good spot to put my lily pad. I'm going to randomly place it all over my piece because we know lily pads just float in the water. I also want you to take out this container and put it between you and your partner. This is called slip. Slip in art class is the glue that holds things together. Now this is the tricky part for adding clay to clay. You can't just set this on here, it will fall off, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put an X on the back of the little lily pad, and then put an X where you want it to go on here. So I want it to go right about there. Then you can use the tool and scoop out a little bit of this wet clay that's called slip, just a little bit, not too much. A lot goes a long way. And just stick it inside of that X. Remember, you need an X on the piece and on your flower hanger, and then you're just gonna press it on. So it should be like a sandwich, or like a cookie, right? An Oreo cookie where there's frosting in between. You're gonna do that 2 more times. I'm gonna add 3 lily pads. So if you wanna add 3 or 2, or maybe you wanna add 4, that's fine. So go ahead and add your lily pads. Awesome. Now that I've used the additive method to add the lily pads to my piece, I'm going to go through and look at my tools here. I'm going to pick a tool that I can use, and you want something that has maybe a little bit of a pointy edge to it. And I'm going to use this to make the very cool texture and small strokes that look like water onto my piece. Now, these don't have to be perfect. They are more organic, so they're free-flowing. And I'm just going to take my tool and make small little strokes, and I'm going around the lily pads because they are the water, so I don't want to draw onto my lily pad. And I'm just going to go all around the piece. Now, like I said, when this comes out of the kiln, we can paint the water to have some blue, maybe a little bit of purple, a little touch of purple, and even some green, believe it or not, is seen in water. So it's gonna look really beautiful. We can also paint our lily pads green. So again, I'm just going around and making this texture, and I'm using the subtractive method. So if you're looking at my piece, you can see I'm taking away from it by making these etch marks into it. So I'm not adding any more to my piece. I'm just kind of etching away at it and subtracting from my piece. But again, both methods are very effective in art, especially clay making, and they work really well to give you the look that you're going for, and it's going to turn out great. Okay, so here you can see I have a bunch of different small strokes in the style of Claude Monet. And then I have my lily pads and the little hole down here. I also put my name on the back, so I am good to go. So I'm gonna let this dry. This is going to go in the kiln, and then it's going to get painted. So I can't wait to see how yours comes out. And I hope you have a lot of fun learning the additive and subtractive method working with the clay.